we were working, we were working on a home. Todd wasn't working with me at that time. Scott Carter we were working together, and we had this little home and enterprise that we were doing, and we needed the trusses there. They were just a small home. We would just hoist the trusses up by hand. And we were laying out the floor that day. It was a frosty morning, October 20th, exactly 24 years ago today. And we got there and we were going to snap the floor out. In other words, line it out for walls, because we'd had all the walls built in one day and the trusses on the next. And then we were going to leave on Thursday. Was this a Wednesday or a Tuesday?
I can't remember.
Anyway, whatever day it was, we were going to leave towards the end of the week, and Todd and Travis and all of us and run down on the Arizona Strip and go deer hunting, which is what he loved to do the very most, you know, of all of his extracurricular. And we did a lot of fun things over the course of years. And anyway, as we were laying out that floor, the truss truck came. And it was just a pickup with a trailer, and the trusses were upside down on this trailer, which that's kind of how a lot of people would bring trusses. Nowadays they do a roll-off. But they were upside down on this trailer, and Mike jumps out and he asked me where he wanted the trusses, and we told him right over there next to the end of the home, and then we can just put them up on and roll the trusses. And he says, all right. He says, I'll need one of your help here in a minute. So he called in about 10 minutes later and says, all right, I need your help, Troy. And so I was laying out floor with Scott. This is about, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, somewhere around there. I don't remember exactly when, but the frost had burned off the floor and we were laying out. Dad had went and got a Pepsi and a donut for us. We'd had a Pepsi and a donut. Anyway, I jumped down to go help Mike, didn't know what he needed. And Dad says, you stay up there, stay there, you know, laying that foundation out. He said, I'm not doing anything, I'll help Mike. And that was the last words I ever heard him say. Because Mike told him, he says, I'm gonna crank up this come along, and when the trusses get up, you just pull the bar out. And the trusses were like this, so I can remember the clink, 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 you know, that come along, that little hand crank. Clink, 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 like that. And then I remember the only next thing I heard, my back was to him, I heard a thud. And I heard Mike yell, help me, help me. And I turned around, and those trusses they had Mickey Mouse, this weld up on there where the cable over the top of the A-frame. And anyway, it wasn't a quality weld at all. It was a really, you know, like a very uneducated welder that did it. And anyway, it gave way, and of course then it dropped the trusses, and it just barely got the bar out. If the bar would have stayed, the trusses would have hit the bar and nothing would happen. Mm-hmm. He barely got the bar out and they came down and hit him, and it flat out just, you know, crushed him. And anyway, Scott and Mike ran over and lifted the trusses, and I pulled Dad out from underneath the trusses, and then proceeded to do mouth to mouth. But I could tell there was no reason to do mouth to mouth on him. I knew it could kill him instantly. I could feel his rib cage was all crushed, and I could see his neck was broke. And anyway, it was pretty bad. But prior to that, Todd Mike can tell you a few stories, but I'm positive that his spirit knew that his time was close, but his mortal body didn't, because he was staying here in our basement. He'd snore so loud that he didn't want to keep us up, so he'd go down in the basement right here and sleep. Had a nice bed down there. It was cool and nice. And Feline got up a few times, and she could tell this story, but she got up a few times because she could hear him talking. And this was a few days prior to him being killed. And she said it's like he was talking directly with somebody, but she says, I knew nobody else was there. And whether he remembers that or not, I don't know. I'm sure he does, you know, in the spirit world, of course, but that's one of the things that looking back, I could see a series of events that happened that I'm positive that he knew that spiritually, that this was the plan.